Hello and welcome to the Gaming Storybook, a new video series giving a brief overview of how I got into a certain video game franchise that is near and dear to my heart. I hope that you enjoy this little trip down memory lane, and that you stick around for more in the future. Since it's the first episode, let's jump into one of the first video game franchises I remember playing as a child. Let's turn back to the late 90s. Seeing as my memory was very foggy during this time, I do not remember the exact year, but regardless, I was a very young child who brought my Game Boy Pocket with me everywhere I went. One afternoon I went out with my dad, and after we did whatever we had to do, we went to his friend's house. While I did not pay attention to what they were talking about, I did notice that there was something else in the room that I could not take my eyes off of. That item was a Sega Genesis with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 loaded in it. My dad let me play for the rest of the time that we were there, and when it was time to go, his friend made the decision to let us keep it so we could keep playing. It was this moment that changed my life in terms of being a gamer. While I did play the Game Boy, I never had the experience of a home console before, and I loved every moment of it. While the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation 1 were out, I loved the Sega Genesis and didn't want anything else. When we first put in Sonic 2 after bringing it home, I jumped right into the Emerald Hill Zone with my sister and had so much fun with it. We would spend hours playing the two-player mode and really helped me foster a better relationship with her. Sonic 2 seemed like the perfect game, except for one problem. That pink water in the Chemical Hill Zone. At the end of Act 2, it would always be the end of my play sessions because I could never get past it. It wouldn't be until years later that I would be able to push through it. After some time with Sonic 2, my mother went on to buy us a Nintendo GameCube, which was bundled with Mario Kart Double Dash. Upon experiencing the next level of gaming, I proceeded to look for whatever Sonic games were available for the console. My search led me to my local Target, where I found Sonic Mega Collection, but also a little game called Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. This game really changed how I viewed Sonic. Before, I thought it was just a fun little game where you run around and beat enemies. This game showed me that there were characters to enjoy and stories to be told, and after that moment, Sonic became one of, if not the, best video game franchise in my opinion. So there you go. Now you know the story about how I got into Sonic, starting with Sonic 2. But before I end the video, I want to make room for other people who fell in love with Sonic as well. I reached out to some people online and wanted to highlight their stories as well. So without further ado, let's begin. Our first story comes from Philip H. Doctor on Twitter as Mario and Sonic 99. And he said, "Okay, so about 10 years ago on spring break, I was in Canada with my family. I started playing Sonic the Hedgehog down there. That's why. My first Sonic the Hedgehog game was Sonic Advance 3 for the Game Boy Advance back in Christmas of 2006. That was good to hear. Much like myself, it's great to see Sonic bringing families together, and the memories that come with it. So let's move on to our next story, which is from Red Thread Gaming, on Twitter as Red Thread Gaming. My first Christmas I can remember, I got a Sega Genesis with Sonic 2, but I could never beat level 2 because the water scared me. You see, the water scared me too. I also noticed that a lot of people have similar experiences with Sonic, so that's great to hear as well." Our third comment comes from a YouTuber who I am a big fan of personally, and that is Kira the Hedgehog, on Twitter as Kira Hedgehog. "I got into Sonic when my dad got a Sega Genesis. I fell in love with Sonic 2, but my favorite game growing up was Sonic R. Once again, Sonic 2 bringing people together since '92. And it was also cool to hear that people enjoyed the not so popular games as well, like Sonic R. Now, our final comment is a really amazing story from Lizzie Hedgehog, on Twitter as Lizzie Silvis. And this one's a little bit of a long one, so let me just get started. "I got into Sonic in the year of 1993. I was not aware that I had a brain tumor that was killing me slowly but quickly. Even though the surgery was successful, I had to deal with recovery as well as deal with bullies in school. These bullies made fun of my disabilities and made me feel shamed for surviving the brain tumor. Bullies made me feel like I didn't want to live, and I often skipped school and stayed home to avoid the bullies and their verbal remarks. One day I stayed home from school and went to the store with my parents instead. I always liked going to the electronics department to look at the computers and at the time, the video games that were on display. But this time something caught my eye. It was a Sega Genesis, and it was connected to a TV showing a video game you could play. The game that was available to play was Sonic the Hedgehog. It caught my eye because it was so different than the Mario games, that I played on my NES. I tried the game out, but I had difficulty holding the controller. The game looked like so much fun. I just had to have it. My dad had been watching and saw how happy I looked while playing, so he bought it for me. Then the TV show came out, and I discovered the comics by Archie Comics. Even though I was still bullied in school, I didn't cry as much because I knew Sonic was waiting for me at home to make me smile and forget the bullies that made me sad earlier. That's how I got into the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. To me, Sonic is more than just a video game character. He's my hero, my healer, my best friend. He was there keeping me smiling and happy when others wanted me to be sad, angry, and ashamed for being disabled. This story is just great. I never even thought that people would find a friend in Sonic in this sort of way, and I was more than honored to share this story on the show. I'm so glad to see that Sonic has done so much for people all over the world. And now you know the story of how I got into Sonic, as well as other people, how they found Sonic. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you have a story on how you found Sonic, or have a suggestion on a different game, please leave it in the comments. I would love to read it.